Content presented in Cheshire Corners is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult a legal professional if you have any questions or concerns about the content of this disclaimer, this series, or the legal implications surrounding psychedelic substances in your jurisdiction.
Welcome to Cheshire Corners. My name is Rita Tsaluk, and let's trip together through the looking glass. So Clint, why don't you take my place? Because I need to leave, but you take my place, and the only thing I want to tell before I... Thank you so much. So what I wanna quickly tell before I give this to Clint, that we're gonna have here on the channel somebody who is really into meditation, Buddhism, and he's just getting ready to speak to us. So hopefully he will open that door for us. We're trying to figure it out. We don't know much.
I don't have any anecdotal experience because I've never done it, but I like I said, you can learn an entire world just through empathy. So I really dove into Alan Watts and all of his lectures and preachings. I guess I wouldn't call them preaching, lectures and insights, enlightenments, right? And they're profound, absolutely. But he scared me away from meditation because he died in like his 40s from alcoholism. This man did not have it figured out. Alan Watts to me is kind of like Robert Plant. Love the art, hate the artist. Okay. Right? Because Robert Plant's... But Led Zeppelin, though.
You know what? We got to put a pause in it. I'm so sorry.
No, that's not a speculation. He wrote about it in his autobiography. Like, he's 6 in the 70s. Like,
I'm pretty uneducated on who both those people were.
So, Robert Plant is the lead singer for Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
And Led Zeppelin did, like, this universally renowned as the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
Fair. Okay. All right. That was... Wait, and he was a... I'm sorry.
They say it was different times, but like I'm telling you right now, time don't exist, brother. The morals do.
Yeah, moral...
Time, it was a different time as a justification for behavior.
I'm sorry. I have no idea who you guys were talking about.
Did you know about Alan Watts?
So, I didn't know about Alan Watts.
Okay, let me explain Alan Watts just real 50 Cent tour. He ushered in Buddhism to the Western world in the 60s. During, there was a British invasion, the hippie revolution here in America, everyone was looking for answers, man. And this guy had them. Okay. Kinda.
Like he just had them by being an open-minded thinker, by meditating?
No. He was a British dude. He went and studied and lived in India. Came back and taught his Buddhist ways to... basically, he started Buddhism in the West. That's a drastic overstatement. I'm sure there's many pioneers before him, but that's the one who gets the face for me.
Oh, I'm actually learning a lot today that I did not expect to learn.
So he wasn't an occultist, but in the occult New Age world, he's like a premier prominent figure.
Can you give me a little bit more context? Because
let me talk to you about a few of his ideas, right?
Yeah.
The one I still heavily subscribe to, and he absolutely had it right, is about manifestation. Okay. The power, like I mentioned it earlier, we have the power to create with our mouth. Some men more than others, right? Some men will get on the street screaming with signs. Right. And then some men open their mouths and nukes drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the same way in history, too. Every man drops his rock into the lake of time. Yeah. And some men will make a little bitty pebble. They'll drop a little pebble and it'll make a ripple and it won't reach the sands. Mm-hmm. People like Marcus Aurelius and Jesus and Muhammad and Gandhi and Dr. King, these men dropped stones that reshaped the shoreline.
I like the way you put that.
Now, I don't want to be one of those dudes who reshapes the shoreline. That's too much. It's too much. I don't want to be in front of the... I don't want to be the guy in front of the curtain.
That's real.
I don't like the celebrity and the fame of it, but if noble and of good moral character, man, it's a service to the humanity to change it for the better. It's the Eagle Scouts, leave it better than how you found it.
That's real.
But if you got the power to drop nukes, but instead you plant trees, bud, that's big shit.
That is. Hey, clip that. That was good. That was good. Wow. Honestly, I will say this much. I was not prepared to be in this chair. I don't know what questions to ask.
I wasn't either, man. You guys just came ask me 10 minutes before we started.
Open-mindedly, or a structural open-minded thinker. And my mind immediately, I don't want to say that I labeled you as that type of person, but there is kind of like a label in my own weird mind for that.
And yeah, I am. You're right. But I want to like preface that because that might come with the pre-notion of some kind of prestige to be taken from that. Like Socrates is, I'm the modern Socrates, bud.
I mean, nothing wrong with that.
No, that's beautiful. Me and Socrates understand something there. Some people live their whole lives in a compound.
That's deep.
A small space in this big space.
That's deep.
Most of the people who have ever lived throughout all of humanity would not understand the concept of what a door is.
Yeah.
What's outdoors? It's how you think. There's outdoors, there's indoors. Do I go out today? Do I go to that event I planned for 2 Oh, no, it's raining, it's shitty. No. They're living a life of... We're all living in a simulation.
Absolutely.
They're living in their simulation within a simulation.
That's correct. I like that. I love that, actually. Okay. I would like to say that there's not too many people like you live moving out in the world, or at least expressing themselves.
I can't find
openly.
my people, man. I'm a lonesome pilgrim in this world.
It's quite hard to pick through them.
Frankenstein, for example. Like, the story of Frankenstein is the same story of Scooby Doo. It teaches us in the end that people are the real monsters.
My mom actually started showing me horror movies at a very, very young age. Just to teach me that lesson.
Dude, the shit that I was downloading off Kazaa and LimeWire and...
Dude, I forgot about LimeWire. Oh, man. I don't know. I remember being, like, young, just watching 13 Ghosts, Silent Hill, shit like that. But her whole point at the end of the day was to teach, like, me and my cousins, they're like, yo, just so you know, even monsters smile. I sit there and lie and say that the boogeyman downstairs, but anybody can be the boogeyman so long as they smile at you.
I mean, I got the Bible sitting here on my lap, so you know I'm a Christian, but yeah, the Satan, man, he's the great deceiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, Satan wears a suit and tie? You know, like a businessman, slick, smile, talk your ass off. Mm-hmm. Like, I went to school for public relations and advertisement and marketing. I get it, man. I understand the slick speak. It's just so pervasive and grotesque and does something to a person that's nasty.
If they notice it, it morally makes them feel disgusting. If they have good morals.
Because they realize subconsciously that if they notice that, they're subject to all of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the real dilemma is. And they don't own that. That's why they never have that epiphany. That's too much to handle. I noticed this, dude. So I did LSD, which I was telling before. LSD is my human collective consciousness tap-in drug to people.
That's fair.
Shrooms would be my one love, tap into nature, the grounding, the climb a tree and be the tree. DMT is go and meet God. Face to face, have a conversation with him, figure your shit out.
Straight to the point, okay.
So there's 3 different levels that I've lived in for probably 10, 15 years now. Nonstop until probably 6 months ago to a year. It clicked, dude. I became a Christian. And I've been a militant atheist my entire life.
That's interesting.
It's happening, brother.
Well, do you mind if I ask you, like, what's your sign?
My son? You want to know what time I was born?
I mean, I'm not that deep.
My mama told me not to talk to girls like you.
No, seriously. What is your sign, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a Leo.
A Leo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the sun.
The sun. And do you know like your rising and moon or anything like that, or is that too deep?
She ain't a witch no more. She's a good woman, but my witch girlfriend out there, she'd tell you. I don't know, dude. She knows the waxing and waning bullshit.
Got you. No, I find that very interesting because you actually remind me of a buddy of mine. He was actually the first person I ever tripped with, ever did shrooms, ever did acid with. Oh, we did so much acid. Oh, God.
Was it party or was it introspective? I mean, what intent?
I realized it was on my second trip. I shit you not. We were still doing it a lot, but I was doing it once, maybe every other week, maybe once a week. Even then, it was still a lot for my first time.
Because you're in the afterglow, still learning. Like your shit just got reset, and you got to go back into your world and figure out what it's like being an infant. And one day it clicked. I have hands. These things do things.
Yes.
Like every time you trip, you got to restart like that.
I was on his roof in like Grosse Pointe, Michigan, for anybody who knows it. Very rich area.
Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Was that 20th mile Detroit shit?
Yeah. So we're that way. I'm on his roof, and I don't know what about this acid is hitting me differently, but I just hear a little voice in my head, and I'll never forget this sentence they went through. It's like, yo, this isn't something to be messed with.
Fact.
This is to help you. This is like an aid. This is more so a feeling, and it could correct that shit. And that low key, ever since then, like I chose to just do it responsibly, not as much as I would do shrooms.
What does it mean to do it responsibly?
Responsibly until your body and your soul tells you now is the time.
The first time I was telling her, I don't know if I said it on camera or not, but I did about an ounce wet because I grew my own. I was trying to like deduce it down to what it means like dry, so I was trying to do an eighth. I ended up doing like 3/4 of an ounce is what it ended up being, or something. I don't know. It'd be speculating, but it was my first trip was down the rabbit hole.
3/4.
And mind you, at that time, I was the kind of guy. I worked at a gun shop. I was a GM at a firearms retailer and a shooting range. I was the kind of guy that drove a jacked up F-250 with 35-inch tires, had a pistol on my hip, fucking chaw on my lip. Dog. And a different man. The guy's good riddance.
That's fair.
That's why I did the shroom experiment in the first place. I knew it had to be. I didn't know it at the time, but as it come to Jesus, I've had a lot of them my entire lives.
See, and you keep saying that, and it just sticks more and more. The reason why I was telling you that story was because he low-key found Jesus recently.
Mm-hmm. I gotta tell you a story on that. My lady, I told you she used to be a witch.
Yeah.
Her and her ex-boyfriend, they were like in this new age occult shit, and they found this guru. And her boyfriend was paying for classes from this guru, right? I don't know, it must have been good. She's not an idiot, and she was subscribing to it.
Right.
So the guy must have had some shit to say. He gets 6 months through the program, and it's just like kind of like Scientology. It's like, all right, we got all your money. You ready for the answer? You're hitting with Jesus.
Okay.
And he couldn't handle it, dude. He was so pissed off. It put him in a living hell because he was looking for the answer on the contingency that it was not Jesus. Let's just go ahead and write that off. All right, now let's open up my world. Where's the light? That's what I did for 20 years. Looking for truth.
Yeah.
Till you find it. Ooh, it finds you when it's ready.
When this episode airs, I am so sending this to you, Griffin. This is like talking to a 40-year-old version of yourself. That's not correct. How old are you, man? I'm so sorry.
You, Griffin. I'm 36.
Dude, I said 40. This guy, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My bad. But it's like talking to an older version of yourself, which is kind of crazy. It's blowing my mind right now. Even the mannerisms. You guys, you have a younger twin out there, man.
So there's energies in people, man. We carry, they're called archetypes.
Yeah.
What is there, like 12 archetypes, and there's different thoughts, like there's Carl Jungian archetypes, and then there's biblical archetypes. There's all kinds of different archetypes. But yeah, man, we all fit into a pattern.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I've just tripped myself and took a little step into the future. Through the looking glass, down further into
That's
the
where I
rabbit
live
hole.
now, man. There's no more substances. Like I said, with the neuroplasticity, you change it. It's like you were talking about it, the Limitless. Spot on at the end of the movie with him and Robert De Niro at the end of the scene. He's like, I had all that access, all that power, and you think I'd entertain any of it?
That you would even think that shows me how unprepared you are to fight me.
You're no longer equipped to
I may
fight
be off,
me.
but you think I didn't learn anything? That my synapses didn't change? That I kept absolutely nothing?
I love that line. I love that line so much. That's good.
That's a fact. So I used to believe that LSD was the drug that Limitless was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized LSD, not shrooms and DMT are, because they're natural, right? They're not synthesized by man. DMT and shrooms are legitimate, but there's something about that synthesization by man. It's why it types us into men so much in the human collective consciousness.
That's fair.
The sin in our hearts corrupts us.
True.
It defiles us. But we are subject to having that. Okay, free will, for example. We don't have choice in this realm, man. Not at all. Like, I noticed this whenever I was taking a path down by the river, man. I did some shrooms, and I was like, I want to go down, get my feet in the sand, walk down the river. I went down to the South Platte, down off, like, Mineral and I-470. Mm-hmm. About 45 minutes later, I'm like, this is so great, God. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. And then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was pissed because I was walking on the paved path. They got this path that just extends for miles. I've been walking on the path the whole time, but that's not why I went there. It's not what I wanted. That path was laid out for me, and I followed it whether I liked it or not.
That was so damn deep. I was not ready for that. Like, what the...
So the free will that we have, no, it's not here. The free will that we do have is the choice whether to bite into our sin or turn towards the light.
So our moral compass.
No, we don't have that. We don't have the luxury. I thought I was my own. Yeah, that's why I justified breaking rules and laws, man. It's you create your own moral compass. You ain't got it right.
Right? No, you have to create your own though.
No. You have to subscribe to one.
Do you have to subscribe to one, or could you create your own?
You can't. I mean, unless you're divine, bud, you ain't creating morals.
So I can't create my own morals for my own self.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But they are gonna inherently be flawed.
I mean, isn't everything flawed because there's no such thing
Divinity's
as perfection?
not flawed.
Huh?
Divinity's not flawed. Divinity's perfect.
That's a new one.
Omnipotence is everything all at once that ever could be, and that is both bad and good, and it supersedes what you even understand about those two terms. I'll put it this way: an omnipotent deity who knows everything, even the hairs on your head are numbered. He would know everything you would think, could say, could do. It's already been pre-calculated, already designed.
I mean, personally, I thought we made our own hell, and this was it until we figured
We
out
do make our
heaven.
own hell. That's a real thing. It's called Gehenna. Jesus, actually, it's in red. Jesus spoke to it. Gehenna was this little village outside of Israel in Jesus' times, and that's where they dumped their animal waste and their shit and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And he speaks to living in Gehenna. He's talking about this. And if you fast forward 2,000 years, if you live with anxiety every day, it's debilitating. If you live in stress, if you live in lies, if you live in sin, that's living in Gehenna, man. And then people are so ignorant. Even most Christians don't know what happens when we die. The Bible clearly spells it out. We go to a place that we've all heard of but really don't know what it is. It's a place called Hades. Mm-hmm. The Bible refers to it as a deep sleep until the second coming of Jesus Christ, to where both the dead and the living on earth will all be judged at the same time.
It's Sheol, right? So
Sheol is Hades. Sheol, so the grave, yes, down into the grave, but it doesn't literally translate to grave because grave has its own. So it's more than just dying. It's a state. Where do we go when we sleep for 8 hours and blink and wake up, dude? That's where we go when we don't open our eyes back up.
That could be so many places, though, couldn't it, though?
Why do we have Neuralink, but we can't tell you what dreams are?
First of all, we shouldn't be able to have Neuralink in the first place. I didn't subscribe to that one.
I'm a beta test.
Are you a beta test?
No, I couldn't.
I was about to get ready to say, Jesus.
They'd sue me.
Turn on the camera right now.
They'd sue me and take my shirt, take my bed, my home. I had this profound miracle happen to me last night.
What?
I was drinking last night at Lazy Dog because me and my lady got into a fight, and I'm a sinner. And So I had a moment of weakness, and I went and I had me about 4 Guinnesses and some dinner, and trying to calm down before I went back to her.
I call that decompression.
Buddy, wait till you see what I'm about to show you. I spilled beer on my Bible while I was reading it and drinking, and immediately I about shit my pants. Because this isn't just any Bible. Like, I've taken my own hand personalized, detailed notes in this thing. It's one of those note Bibles. Where are you at, Proverbs? So Proverbs is how I got started into Christianity, because my entire life I've searched for nothing but wisdom. And Solomon was the greatest king of all time, the wisest king of all time. And I said, shit, if you want to, I've listened to Carl Jung, I've listened to Alan Watts, I've listened to all these. If I want to listen to somebody, I'm going to go listen to Marcus Aurelius, and I'm going to listen to Solomon. I opened, and this is where I became a Christian. I opened up Proverbs. I hit Proverbs 7, and it said, the beginning of knowledge is the fear of God. And at that point, I was a militant atheist, dude. I was my own God. I manifested everything I wanted, you know what I mean? Yeah. I had God-like powers, it seemed. So my logical deduction is I'm God. But whenever I seen that, I'd feared no man. There was no government, no cops. Like, come here, Johnny Lowe, let's have a conversation. I don't run from them, right? That kind of thing. I read that line, that the beginning of knowledge is the fear of God. I'm trembling right now, dude. It scared the out of me. And I went from being a militant atheist in one verse to that, because I felt fear for the first time. Because my entire life, there's a song called Wear Sunscreen by Baz Luhrmann, and there's this verse in it that says, it's a commencement speech of just good advice that was turned into a song. But one of the lyrics is, do one thing every day that scares you.
Yeah.
I took that to heart. I took that entire song to heart as a young man, but and I applied it. So like the last thing I conquered was probably 5 years ago. I've always been afraid of snakes. Sure enough, I had a roommate. Snakes, dude.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Asps. Very dangerous. You go first.
And I was like, you know what, dude, let's do this. Put the on my neck. And I learned, and what I've learned through that entire process, we're only afraid of the things that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And whenever I read Proverbs 7, dude, I suddenly realized I don't understand God, and that scares the shit out of me. Jesus is the Trinity, right? The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. They're all God, one entity. And the best way to explain this to you, or viewers who are understanding, it's like water. Steam, ice, and water. 3 different forms, all H2O. And if you think about that and divine what God is, yeah, Jesus is God, the Holy Ghost is God. They're all one God, but he's branched himself out for different purposes. Right. The Holy Ghost, says in Genesis 1, the Holy Ghost was breathed onto the waters. And waters is very symbolic in the Bible for life. So the Holy Ghost was breathed into the life, right? That's that driving force in us that like gets us excited. That's that thing that, you know, where like, that's the thing that makes us compassionate. Or not compassionate, but that's the thing that makes us passionate. That gives us our drive, our gumption, our go get it. Let's succeed. Let's do our best. That's the Holy Ghost in us.
Okay.
Jesus would be the literary allegory for love. If you take all of the love that humans can understand that's been written about in all of history, what they're talking about is Jesus. And also, like, Jesus is in the Old Testament. He's the Logos. He's the Word. He is the literal... Isaiah, that is Jesus. I know this is supposed to be about psychedelics, and I guess really the theology, Jesus is the Messiah. I guess that's the end game of psychedelics. It really is. No shit. There was this Boulder dude I used to buy shrooms from, and I realized after discovering he didn't do his own shrooms, I was like, "What, dude?" Because I offered him some. Right, let's trip together. Let's get to know each other a little bit. And he's like, "Oh, I'm good. I don't do them." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I locked it." He said, "I got what I needed out of it." And dude, I never understood that until it happened to me.
That's what's up. I've been trying to get to that place myself. I know one day I'm going to get to the place where, like, I don't need to go on the trip. But I do feel as though I'll trip every now and then, maybe every decade or so, just because there are parts of myself that I feel as though I need to stay in contact with, not lose touch with, if that makes sense.
You can't. No, I discovered, I knew it before I did psychedelics, buddy, and to touch on that, and you knew the same thing. You had to have that. It's like whenever you're a kid and you're like, well, I know I'm a kid and adults run the world and they won't let me go drive a car, but why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you think, well, I know why, dude. I can't drive a car.
Yeah. Oh.
But you have to eventually one day drive a car.
You have to.
And, well, you don't have to, but like the day that you do drive a car, you've broken into something different. You're no longer a person who's never driven a car. Now you've tasted freedom. You want to go left, you go left. You want to go right, you go right.
But
for me, that was literally going from being, it was my coming of age. I think it is for a lot of people, right?
Honestly.
Well, after that, it lasts to about your late 20s, and then you're going to have another one of those clicks. Like, all right, dude, there's more to this grind. I'm so tired of working to just live and having nothing to show for it.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, dude, we got the power to create. You can do some shit there. If you have the power in your intent, if you really believe it. There's a verse, it was all about manifestation. There's a verse in Mark 11:22 through 25. It says, long and short paraphrase, verily, verily, that's Jesus saying, I promise you, right? He says, verily, verily, look at those look at the mountains, and if you wish them to come down to the sea, they will. If you pray on them, you can move that mountain to the sea. Jesus says through prayer you can do that. So, buddy, not only did I discover that after being an atheist and manifesting my entire life, and I like teaching people how to manifest in my later 20s, right? It's not only did I know how to do it, I can teach you how to make shit happen with just your intent. Well, if you're not working for a good cause, you're a worker of an iniquity whenever you do that.
That's fair.
You create darkness and destruction and magic if you do not have the light in your heart while you do it. And you're limited.
Yeah.
But with the light in your heart, you can move a mountain to the ocean with your manifestation power.
That's true.
You have to have the belief. Well, whenever I was doing it as an atheist, I believed in myself.
Right.
And now I got the belief in God, which is stronger than me. So it's a better, powerful. I upgraded my manifestation generator.
Exact, but it came with that consistency.
But I also stopped serving myself when I did that, and I finally found a purpose. I'm not just, I can do cool shit. Y'all want to go to Belize? Let me show you you know what I mean? Let me show you the Guatemalan Belizean border. It's great out here. These people are wild, but they're good people, man. We could do that over and over. Alan Watts has something like that. He's like, let's imagine you could dream for 1,000, you could have 1,000 years worth of dreams in one night. You would wake up the next morning having every experience ever possible. You would have felt every emotion knowable to mankind. Every dopamine rush, everything. If you could live 1,000 years in one night's dream.
That's a lot.
But let's say you woke up from that. You'd be like, holy shit. You go to bed again the next night. It would be the same thing. Now you're into 2,000 years of experience, man. You would wake up from that and you would be like, well, this is getting kind of boring now because I know what it is. I've lived enough life on this world to know what it is, man. I see people. I know them before they speak.
Yeah.
Right? I go to the mountains. I know why it looks like that. I understand the topography is cut by glaciers and all that shit, right? Like the erosion, all that stuff. I see it like it's an augmented reality. It's part of the psychedelics that I've neuroplasticity. I see the energy, man. I see the code in the matrix. I don't know how to manipulate it yet, but I see it and I can read it and decipher it.
I mean, that's still pretty good. All that's left is being able to grasp it in
Manipulate
your own
it.
metaphysical way. And manipulate
If you
it.
can transmetaphysically manipulate the physical, bud, that's deity shit. I don't think. Yeah, it does exist because God gives prophets and apostles and disciples the power to heal, and He gives them divine powers. So yeah, it's a very real thing.
I believe that some of us, I wouldn't say that I'm fully religious or anything. I'm open-minded to being religious. I grew up in a Christian family.
Even the people that would say that they are, bud, they're probably more religious than they are.
I'm probably
Like spiritual.
I'm probably more. I'm a little bit. I'm a half. I'm open to both of it, just because I see truth in both. That's the best way I can put it.
If you give it power, there will be power there.
That's very true. That's very true. Me, for myself, I didn't have to. I just had to think a lot in order to get myself to this place of both spiritual and religious self-belief. I kind of, to a certain extent, believe that we are our own gods, while still believing in God Himself. But I only believe that we are our own gods because we have the power of creation. And to be a god is to be creative and to have the power of creation. And that right there can change your absolute world with the right intention, so long as you're looking to do something with it and give yourself that sense of purpose.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. And I know exactly where you're at because that's where I just came from. Like I said, I've been a Christian for like 6 months, but I've been a theology student since I was a kid.
You say a theology student?
Yeah, a theology, philosophy, like, I'm a thinker, man, like you. But what I was going to ask you, more so than being a thinker, are you a self-reflector?
Yes.
There it is.
Very,
more so
very
than just
much.
being a big thing. It's am I able to self-analyze, but more so be honest with myself?
Yes.
And point out, that's ugly about me.
Yeah, like that was
You have no idea how rare if birds of a feather flock together. People ain't like that, homie.
When I said earlier today, like you're a different thinker. There are not too many people like you. I could tell. It's been a fun one. I'm not even gonna lie, man. It's been an interesting talking to you again. Like, what was your name?
Clyde.
That's right. Like Bonnie and Clyde. Clinton. Love you too, man. This has been great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect my boss to put me in this seat. Honestly, I thought I was.
You know what,
wake
man?
up.
God works in mysterious ways. And you and I, we just grew.
Absolutely. If anything, you've given me more wisdom for the future. If anything.
If anything, you give me encouragement.
That's all I aspire to do. I aspire to give people encouragement and inspiration, man. That's all I want to do in this world for people.
If you say that's all you want to do, then you've identified your purpose in life. And
Yes.
when you're doing it, hopefully this reaches some people, and hopefully you turn them on to themselves.
Even if
Turn them on and turn. What's a turn on, tune in, and drop out?
Turn on, tune in, drop out.
Okay.
Right?
I've never heard that before.
Oh no shit, that's
No.
Timothy. That's old hippie 60 shit.
Okay.
So Timothy Leary, you know that name? He was a Harvard professor that dropped out of Harvard because kicked out of Harvard because he ushered in the hippies LSD. He ushered in the LSD to the hippie movement.
Okay.
Like he was hanging out with the Grateful Dead at their house parties and shit.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like he went on this hippie bus called the Magic Kool-Aid Electric Test or some shit like that. I think that's a book. Anyway, King Kesey wrote a book about what he did. And all we know, like all that hippie LSD shit that we all know, like, you know, the Austin Powers bubble text and all that shit that's in the human collective consciousness.
Yeah.
That's all heavily implanted by Timothy Leary.
Whoa.
He was the foremost advocate for not only self-exploration with psychedelics, but advocacy for legalization, advocacy for the therapeutic aspects of it, advocacy for the enlightenment aspects of it. He was an advocate for all of it, right? Yeah, that's my progression. I started shrooms, LSD for a long time. I mean, just it started from like little blotters you get on the street corner to like I was getting liquid from UC Berkeley, bud. It's been a long journey.
I do papers, man. I do like the little squares.
So what they're into now, they got color-coded gel tabs.
I've heard about those.
So I've had green, blue, and
those.
red, and they all have subculture relevancy to them.
Okay.
There's subculture context. Our world has hit the level of hurt that we can barely tolerate, and now we're talking about nuclear war. the World War III. We got shit popping off in Africa. We got shit popping off in Eurasia. Well, dude, it is literally, all it takes is one catalyst. It's Archduke Ferdinand gets popped. We're done, dude. It's 3.
That's one hell of a thing to hear.
You have your own personal purpose, which serves you by serving him. It's a captivity of love. If you've ever really been in love, you know what that means, but take that to the upteenth degree. It's God's love.
That's real.
So it's a captivity of love, and whenever you hand your hands out to Jesus and he puts those cuffs on you, what that does is that takes away the wants of your flesh. That's why I'm trying to talk about psychedelics, but I keep coming back to the Bible, dude. I can't not think about it.
They're intertwined for you.
Being a militant atheist is a provocateur, fun thing to do that I'm really, good at.
Yeah.
I don't know how to live life without thinking about Jesus.
Yeah, okay.
And I want it this way.
That's interesting. Okay.
Right? Because you're still going to have that want. You're still going to have that desire for sin.
Yeah.
But you, different person now, you ain't doing that. So what do? You replace it with something powerful.
That's real.
And I don't know how, that's what it means to be a prisoner of Jesus Christ. I don't know how else to say it. And I don't know how else to be now, knowing what I know. You can't go back. Like, imagine like your 15-year-old mind thinking how this world worked and your 28-year-old mind thinking about how this world works.
Dude.
You can't go back, bud.
No.
I can't go back either, and I don't want to.
I know that because I am exactly when I'm supposed to, where I'm supposed to, and how I'm supposed to.
You are where you are supposed to be right now, at all times.
At all times.
That's beautiful.
There is no mistake. It may feel like you may not be on the path that you may want to be on at that time, but that's just because right now it wasn't designed for you to be on that path in that moment.
Word.
But in due time, due to your manifestation, your drive, you will hop back onto that pavement, or you'll simply Bob Ross it and paint the path yourself.
Happy little mistakes the whole way, brother.
Happy little mistakes. Just beat the devil out of it.
And see what happens. As you paint, you'll see all kind of things happening on your canvas, and very soon you learn to use all these beautiful little things that happen. I think in one of the earlier shows I mentioned, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
You've heard it from Clyde himself, but apparently that is all the time we got. Oh, wait. I love you. Big time, Clyde. This has been fun. This has been my first time doing this. Only 8 days new. Thank you for Thank you for watching Cheshire Corners. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm sorry I wasn't rated today. Thank you to Clyde, and thank you to the editor. Peace out.
We appreciate you.